Here I'm using one of my sculpting tools. I'm just putting an angle on both sides of the flashing. I just prefer my flashing to have a slight angle to it. And I'm just doing this until I'm happy with how it's looking. Okay, so I just finished doing that. So it's more angled, as you can see. So I'm much happier molding it when it's like this. I did also just spray a little bit of IPA on here, which is isopropyl alcohol. Normally we use 99.9%. And then just cleaning up any clay or anything that's on there that we don't want to get in the mold. Next we are going to be building a little wall around each of these. I want to make 2 molds, one of that one and one of that one. So we need to build a wall around each of them. I'm going to use clay. And we also need to put a little release on this. They're very small sculptures, so I'm just going to use Vaseline. Yeah, and then I'll take you through the molding process of these little bullet wound sculpts. I'm using Moldstar 20T. This one is a nice soft silicone. However, it does have a 30-minute cure time, so you have to work quite fast. Once A and B touch, then you've got 30 minutes before the mold harden. And your silicone will cure. So you measure equal parts of A and another equal part of B. I decided to do 51 grams. However, I overpoured on B, so I had to go back and fill up A a little bit. So I ended up doing 52. I also decided I didn't want this mold to be clear, so I colored it with a blue oil paint to get the color. And then I mixed A and B together. So this is where you have to be quite fast. Unfortunately, when you mix 2 silicones together like this, you are mixing air bubbles into it. You don't want air bubbles in your mold. So the way to just help all the big bubbles come to the surface, you can just hit the bottom of the cup and you'll see them all rising to the top. And then also you put your mold down, and when you're pouring the mold, you'll hold the cup really high above the mold. And then the stream that goes down needs to be very thin. And that way you also avoid to get too many air bubbles in there. This worked very well here. However, I did see a few big air bubbles where at the opening of the wound was, which I just poked away with a stick. And then I also just hit the bottom of the tile, which also helped bring any big bubbles to the surface. But these turned out pretty well. Now we're gonna just take it out. And it's just gonna lift out. There's a little bit of clay in there, but it's looking good. So that's your one mold, and let's just take this one out. There we go. This is pretty nice. Just going to clean that up. It's in there. Taking the molds out. So that's the exit there. And this one is, that's your entry, which is that one there. So I do need to clean them up. As you can see, there's bits of clay and stuff on there. Also, there's quite a bit of Vaseline, so I need to just trim the edges as well, just make it a little bit sort of neater looking. And then once we're done with that, then we can talk about spraying on the baldies and the cap plastic. It's a long process still ahead, but at least we've got the molds, so that's great.